All right, let's talk about AI, but probably not in the way you're thinking. See, this isn't about some far off sci fi future. Nope. This is about a choice that you've got to make, like, right now. A choice that's going to pretty much define your entire career over the next couple of years. Seriously, take a second and just let this sink in. I came across this warning in a report recently, and it was so blunt, so direct, I knew we had to start right here. It says, if you're broke in 2026, it won't be because of AI. It'll be because you ignored this. And look, this isn't about blaming some robot or algorithm. It's about a massive shift in who's responsible for what. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this is. Okay, so let's dive into our first section here, the 2026 warning. And the most important thing to get your head around is that this isn't some guess about the future. It's not a prediction. The data is already showing this huge split between people who are adapting and people who are, well, not. And it's happening right now. It's actually speeding up. Okay, now check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting and kind of counterintuitive. We've got data from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, and it shows a 3% increase in unemployment for tech workers. We're talking about software developers, data analysts, the very people in jobs most exposed to AI. You'd think these guys would be totally fine, right? Well, nope. And this right here is the whole point of what we're talking about today. It's not that AI is just coming in and wiping out jobs. That's not what the data says. What it is showing is this massive gap opening up between two kinds of people, even in the very same job. You've got the people who use AI and the people who get left behind because they refuse to. So, to make this super clear, let's look at a tale of two paths. This is a real story from a real tech company. It's about two engineers, almost identical on paper, but their futures completely different. Okay, so on one side, you've got Jason Martinez, 8 years in, making good money. And his take on AI was basically, I don't need ChatGPT, I know how to do my job. Then you have Sarah Chen, a little less experience, similar pay, but her attitude? The complete opposite. She jumped right in, learned prompt engineering, which is really just the skill of talking to AI to get what you want, and started using everything she could get her hands on. Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot, you name it. Now, here's the crazy part. Look how fast this all went down. In March 2024, they were basically equals, doing the same job. Fast forward to August 2025, just over a year later, the company restructures. Jason's job, gone, eliminated. That same day, Sarah gets a promotion, a big one, to AI engineering lead. I mean, that's how fast their paths split. So, why? What was the difference? Well, it's right here. Their manager said that by using AI tools, Sarah wasn't just a little bit better. Her output was 3 times higher than Jason's. Think about that. From the company's perspective, she was doing the work of 3 engineers, but they were only paying for 1. And really, it all comes down to this one simple idea. Jason tried to compete with AI. He tried to prove he was better. Sarah, on the other hand, decided to control it. She didn't see it as an enemy. She saw it as the most powerful tool she'd ever been given. And that right there, that's the whole game. Okay, so this isn't just a problem for people who are already established in their careers. Actually, the impact might be even bigger for people just starting out. And that brings us to this idea of the broken career ladder. That first step, that traditional way in, it's starting to disappear. I mean, just look at this number from KPMG, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. They cut their hiring for recent grads by almost 30% in 1 year. And it's not just them. PwC said they're doing the same thing, and they pointed directly at AI as the reason. These were supposed to be the safe, stable jobs you get right out of college, and they're just vanishing. You know how the path used to work, right? You'd get hired as a junior analyst. You'd do all the boring, repetitive stuff, the basic reports, the number crunching. That's how you learn the ropes. But guess what? AI is incredible at all that boring, repetitive stuff. So that first rung of the ladder, the one you need to grab onto to even start climbing, it's basically being sawed right off. And this brings us to another story. Emily and David. Now, look at this. Emily had the better grades, the perfect resume on paper. She sent out 150 applications. She got 0 offers. 0. David, meanwhile, had a lower GPA. He got 3 offers. So, what gives? Well, while Emily was perfecting her resume, David was learning Python. He was building little tools to automate accounting tasks. His resume didn't just scream, "I'm an accountant," it screamed, "I can make accounting faster and smarter." He became the guy who tells the AI what to do.
Okay, this leads us to a really, really important point that I think most people get wrong. Everyone's scared that AI is coming for their job, but that's not quite right. You need to reframe it. AI isn't coming for your job, it's coming for the tasks inside your job.
Let's take a look at a marketing manager's job, for instance. You've got all this routine stuff, right? Planning social media posts, pulling performance reports, scheduling emails, all the predictable, repetitive work. Turns out that's like 70% of the job. And guess what? AI can now do pretty much all of that. What's left over is the 30% that really requires a human brain, strategy, creativity, making tough judgment calls. So this is the question you have to ask yourself right now. If a machine suddenly takes over 70% of your workload, what are you going to do with all that extra time? Seriously, how you answer that one question is going to decide pretty much everything about your career from here on out. Well, a marketer named Lisa in the report had the absolute perfect answer. She didn't panic. She didn't start looking for another job doing the same old stuff. Instead, she took all that new free time and she went all in on that 30% that AI can't do. She focused on deep customer psychology, big picture brand strategy, all the human stuff. The result? She got promoted to director. Meanwhile, her coworker, who just kept trying to do things the old way, ended up having to take a new job somewhere else for less money. All right, let's pull all this together. This brings us to our final, most important point, the adaptation imperative. Because after hearing about Jason and Sarah, Emily and David, it's pretty clear this isn't really about technology at all, is it? It's about a choice, your choice, and how that single choice is going to define your future. The World Economic Forum has some huge projections on this. And yeah, the first number is scary. 85 million jobs are expected to be displaced. That's a lot. But look at the second number. They also project that 97 million new jobs will be created. You do the math. That's a net gain of 12 million jobs. The overall pie is actually getting bigger, not smaller. But, and this is the brutal, honest truth, those 97 million new jobs are not for the same people. They're not just going to magically fall into the laps of the 85 million who lost their old roles. No. These new jobs are for people with new skills, with a new mindset. Your old job isn't coming back. You have to become the person who's ready for the new one. So it all comes down to a moment of truth right here for you. The choice is really simple. It's one or the other. Are you the person who's learning? The one figuring out how to prompt an AI? Maybe learning a bit of Python? Or are you the person who's complaining? Just talking about how unfair it is that everything's changing. Are you building things, putting together a little portfolio that proves you know how to use these tools? Or are you just waiting for your boss to send you to a training course, waiting for things to just magically go back to the way they were? And that brings us right back to the very beginning. Everything we've talked about, all the data, the stories of Jason and Sarah, Emily and David, it all points to this one single, unavoidable conclusion. The technology is here. The opportunity is here. The only thing left is your choice. So if you find yourself struggling in 2026, don't blame the algorithm. Blame the choice you're making right now, today.